Bonjour, bonjour, on est niveau 2. On va continuer avec chapitre 6, la troisième partie de chapitre 6 et notre discussion d'imparfait. Alors, on va regarder l'exprimons-nous, les phrases et comment faire les discussions, comment faire les phrases en général en utilisant l'imparfait. OK? So, si vous regardez à la page 195, il y a ce petit parti-là, exprimons-nous. To talk about when you're a child. Or to talk about any continued past action. They do have youth-specific vocabulary here, though. So to talk about when you were a child, okay? And you can follow along as I read. Quand j'étais jeune, quand j'étais plus jeune, jamais joué aux dames. Okay, so when I was young or when I was younger. Quand j'étais jeune, quand j'étais plus jeune. Okay? Quand j'étais petit, quand j'étais petite, when I was small, jamais allé au cercle. Okay? Quand j'avais 8 ans, jamais fait de la balançoire. Okay? And you see imperfect twice again, like you did in the first dialogue with the girl. Quand j'étais jeune, jamais, da-da, da-da, da-da. This happens here. Quand j'avais 8 ans, when I had 8 years, and again, not a particular moment in time, but the continued past action of her being 8 years old. Okay? At the time that she was 8 years old, that continued time, jamais fait de la balançoire. She would like to seesaw. Okay? So at the time that she was 8, she would like to seesaw. So again, two continued past actions, two continued uses of imperfect in the same phrase here. And when she's describing her age, of course, she does it the French way, to have these many years, not to be these many years. And so she's conjugating avoir in the imperfect. And I've mapped out the avoir conjugations for you. J'avais, tu avais, il avait, elle avait, on avait. Nous avions, vous aviez, ils avaient, elles avaient. Okay, again, not saying the ENT, and again, noticing the pattern. AIS, AIS, AIT, IONS, IEZ, AIENT, and again, with the plurals, nous, vous, and il, elle, pluriel, making the liaison. Nous avions, vous aviez, ils avaient, elles avaient. An important note about conjugating in the imperfect. Again, there's this resource here for conjugations, but you can clue yourself in to how something would be conjugated on your own as well. So the new form, whatever the verb is, the new form, take the root of the verb in the new form. So in the case of avoir, av, av here, and then add your imperfect endings. So for faire, in the present tense, the new form is faisons. So F-A-I-S, okay? You can stop there and add your imperfect endings, okay? And it's like that for all of your verbs. That's the formula for creating the imperfect. Okay? So you can apply these exprimer new phrases to any of the activities that we went over vocabulary wise in this chapter, or any of the activities that you've done in the past from last year. Any of the activities that you've learned, that would be continued past action for you, something you would do habitually. You can apply all of these to imperfect. Okay, so to continue to the making phrases, you've already been introduced to a couple of ways how to begin talking in the imperfect. You had at the beginning, quand j'étais jeune, jamais, and she continued, and assuming the guy on the other page was listening to the conversation and had something to contribute, he continues, et moi, jamais, with the things that he would like to do. But there are other ways you can start as well. I have here, je me souviens. So this is I remember. Je me souviens. And then you can continue with exprimer new stuff, or you can continue with your own creative ways of using the imperfect for these activities. Okay, so par exemple, I can say something like, je me souviens chaque été, jamais fait des châteaux de sable. So I remember every summer I would like to make sandcastles. Or I don't have to go the I would like route. I can just say, je me souviens, chaque été à la plage, je faisais des châteaux de sable. Okay, so I remember every summer at the beach, I would build a sandcastle, or I would build sandcastles. Okay, so there's a lot of room for creativity and how you plug your elements in, just so long as your rules for imperfect are being followed. Okay? Particular to the situation that we're in now, and we're going to build on this in part 4, but relevant to the situation that we're in now, avant, this is before, okay? And let's pick a substantial event, quarantine. Avant le quarantaine, avant le quarantaine, so I've got the event here. And the event is the quarantine. Continue with a pronoun, je, tu, nous. Okay, plug a pronoun here. And then talk about something that was typical for you to do in the time before the quarantine. Okay, so par exemple, avant la quarantaine, 4 fois par semaine, j'allais au gym. So before the quarantine, 4 times a week, I would go to the gym. I can compare this with now. Maintenant, je ne peux pas. And now, now I can't. You don't want to go to the gym with a bunch of other people right now. We can't go to the gym. So you can also use this to make comparisons with time. Okay, start in the past, continue past action before an event, and continue with et maintenant. So you know the spelling for maintenant. Et maintenant. so you can compare the imperfect with the you can compare the imperfect past with the simple present this way. You can also add frequency. Frequency is an effective method of embellishing your imperfect statements. Okay? Par exemple, avant la quarantaine, j'allais souvent au cinéma. Okay, so before this, I would often go to the cinema. Okay? Quand j'étais jeune, j'aimais grimper aux arbres, mais rarement. Okay, so maybe there's something that I enjoyed, but I didn't get a chance to do it very often. So I liked to climb trees, but I didn't always have access to one to climb maybe. So you can interject your frequencies as a useful way to embellish your imperfect phrases. Okay? And there are other elements in Exprimons-nous here. À la page 197. Okay, talking about the past. Un jour, pendant que, and you know this from the last chapter that we did, pendant que is while. Okay? Un jour, pendant que je jouais dans le jardin. Okay? So, one day, during which I was playing in the garden, and this is getting into a concept that we'll discuss in the fourth part, and to close out with, taking the imperfect and relating it to passé composé. So so far you've seen the concept of imperfect being continued past action. You've seen how the imperfect is conjugated. You've seen how to start some phrases in the imperfect, express what you liked to do, or go directly into expressing what you would do habitually in the past, continued past action. You've seen some introductory phrases to prompt imperfect. You've seen relating imperfect to the past, comparing the two. And finally, you'll see imperfect and passé composé working together. And I'll give an exercise related to this for you to do at the end to close. Alors, merci.